Suddenly soundtracks are here to provide you. Suddenly soundtracks will show you care. Oh, be more the soundtrack inside you with sweet understanding. Oh, with sweet understanding. With sweet understanding. Soundtracks are your friend. Hey guys, welcome once again to Suddenly Soundtracks, the show where you guys know we judge a movie solely based on the soundtrack that it provides here on the PJ Campbell Network. And I'm here with two wonderful guests. But before we get to that, I just want to say that I know you guys saw that last week's Shock Treatment's technical difficulties had a little bit of a live shoot. I think it was all on YouTube's end because we were sounding fine. So Shock Treatment we just recorded and we will air next week, 1 week from today, with the great William Bibiani, Video Drew, and Mark Edward Hoyk. And then following that will be the Patreon requested Cabaret. Brandy Parker, our gold tier patron, along with myself, Max and Liz and Whitney Seibold. We're going to be going through Cabaret, so that is going to be a fun time. And I am here with two wonderful guests. One was on the show when it was back on Take 3, and the other one is a newbie. So I'm going to go to you, Jill. Jill first. This is one of your favorite movie of all time.
My favorite Disney film. Yeah.
Favorite Disney.
Yeah.
So
favorite Disney film.
When did you first see Tangled, and why do you love it so much?
It came out in 2010.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can count on you, Jen. I saw it in theaters in 2010, and I remember going in and just seeing the animation, and I had never personally really related to a Disney princess before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never really felt like I had like the same personality as one. None of them really spoke to me. Rapunzel frickin' changed all that, and this movie made me cry. This movie made me laugh. And it is, to this day, my favorite Disney film. Sean actually has decorated our bedroom in Disney stuff because I'm so obsessed with it. He made me, I have the golden flower behind me. It lights up. I have Tangled lanterns along the wall. I have my Thomas Kincaid Tangled painting over there. So this is a Tangled household. I am currently wearing my Tangled eyeshadow. It is actually Disney Princess, and there were Tangled colors. So I'm going all out today. I got my Tangled shirt. Let's go. We're ready. I'm excited. I always get so excited to talk about this movie. Oh,
this movie's phenomenal. This is the first time I saw it. It's really just like, yeah, it is. It's the first time I saw it. Yeah, I know.
What are you doing, Chris?
I know. I was blinded by it. And you know what? It's a throwback to the Disney Renaissance. Yes. It's the throwback to the Disney fairy tale. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's kind of like, if you read the story of Rapunzel, the majority of the story is there, and it's kind of predictable, but it's beautifully made, and the songs are gorgeous. We're going to get to that. Jen, this is the first actual episode of Suddenly Soundtracks you've been on since, I think, Muppet Christmas Carol 2 years ago.
yeah. Did that actually air in the end? I don't even remember.
Yeah, it did air. We're going to be doing it again, so it's going to be fun. And you're going to
try again.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts on Tangled, and why do you love it so much?
Oh, I absolutely love it. Right there with Jillian. If you don't know the history of Tangled, it feels like a Disney Renaissance film because it was trying to be made since 1996. Like, it took a long time to get this done, and that's why it really has that throwback feel to it. And it is just a beautiful story. Like Jill said, she is a very relatable character. Like, she's one of those like modern kind of takes on a princess. So it's really fun for kids to actually see someone that kind of acts like a kid because she's a little naive, and we're going to run with that. But yeah, it's a beautiful story. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those battlegrounds kind of in Disney fandom between Tangled and Frozen. And if you're a fan of Tangled, you tend to not like Frozen so much, but yeah,
Frozen has a couple goodies.
Yeah, there's some comparisons that we'll probably get into as we go along here, but yeah, I'm definitely the Tangled camp for that ongoing battle that is still going. Even though at Disney World there's only one Tangled place, and it's a bathroom.
And it's the bathroom.
It is?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was at Disney World, right at this was probably 3 years after Tangled came out, I watched as a poor little 5-year-old dressed as Rapunzel was walking into the bathroom with her mother, and she kind of looked at her and said, "Okay, honey, this is it. So enjoy it while you can. That's all you get." Like they've worked it into a couple of fireworks shows and stuff like that, but that's all they have right now. So hopefully the word here, it is gorgeous. It is only like a 10 by 10 space, but it is the best bathroom in Disney World.
It is. It's so pretty, but it's a you can't even meet Rapunzel there. You got to go to the freaking Princess meet and greet.
You got to walk a mile to get there. Yeah.
Disney World.
Billy did bring up the fact that he likes the TV series. Have either of you seen the TV series of Tangled? And is that musical or is it just like
there's songs in it? There are songs in it. I've only seen the first couple episodes. I've been meaning to actually watch it, but from what I've seen, it's freaking amazing.
It seems like
similar. I think it's got posted on Disney Plus, and they're missing an episode. So I stopped, unfortunately. So I need to find the other one to continue because I'm one of those people that has to watch it from front to back and everything. But it's one of those My Little Pony Friendship It's Magic kind of things where the themes are bigger than what you would think. So yeah, it's definitely something to check out.
Cool. Before we get into the actual show, guys, I do want to shout out our patrons. The Gold Tier Brandy Parker, yep, she requested, we shouted out for Cabaret, but we have the Ruby Tier producers, Brandon Buckingham, the Youth Critic, Stephen Wright, Fares Muthana, Michael K., good old Michael, and Badur. They're awesome. If you want to support us on Patreon, you get shouted out like this, $10 and up. I'll be sure also to check out on Saturday we have the double feature of The Conjuring and Conjuring 2. I am very not looking forward to that. Tomorrow night, though.
Can't wait for the screen clip outs of Chris later.
Man.
Oh, no.
It's going to be the whole thing.
Tomorrow night, though, on Front Center Mez, Pat and Maxwell are going to be joined by their friends Preston and, of course, Video Drew to talk about their favorite spooky musicals. I love spooky musicals. A lot of my favorite favorite musicals are horror, just because of that's kind of, they associate horror with rock, and rock and roll is my kind of thing. So, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the show and what it's about. Basically, it's a super simple show. Each soundtrack is reviewed track by track. Every panelist gives a score depending on how they feel about a certain song. And then we judge it by the soundtrack itself, not the film. This is not a movie review show. This is a music show. So we're going to talk about the songs and how they play by themselves. You can take their context into account, but don't take the context into account when you rate the actual number, if that makes sense. Going by the scoring system, it's Rockin' is a 5 out of 5. Download It is a 4 out of 5. Shuffle It is a 3. One Time Listen is a 2. And Skip It is a 1 if we think that something is just utter garbage. So, those, I'm just going to go right into track number 1. I'm going to throw it to you, Jen. How do you feel this musical opened with When Will My Life Begin? Which is not really an opening number. It comes in after a flashback. But what are your thoughts on the opening number of her basically cleaning up her
this is the intro to Disney's first Rockin' Princess. So it better be a rockin' on your ranking. But yeah, it was, if you know the history of this movie and everything, it took a long time to be made and everything. And one of their problems was, how do we start this thing? So this was one of those songs that was worked and reworked many, many times, but it ended up being one of my favorites. Like, this is one of the perfect quarantine kind of songs. I think it actually hits a little close to home now. So yeah, it's a beautiful song. And I think if you look back on Alan Menken talking about making this musical to begin with, he's I want it to be kind of medieval, but also folk rock and mission accomplished, because there's a lot of strumming in here. And this is a really interesting one where it's kind of represents the entire character of Rapunzel, where it's a little chaotic, a little bombastic, it's moving constantly, but then I really like that it goes through her daily routine, which is completely jam-packed, at the beginning of quarantine, and then you kind of calm down a little bit towards the end, and you get, this is her want song, if you know the Disney formula. This is the her Minkin big want song. Yes. Where you gotta sit down and think about what you really want in the world. And that's one of my favorite parts of the song. It really slows down, and she talks about how she wants to go see the lights and everything. And we have our little reprise that wasn't technically in the movie. So it kind of does what the song already did. That's why it didn't really make the movie. So good job there, actually cutting a song.
The Reprise,
so
I'm actually, I forgot to mention that. The Reprise I'm grouping in with this. So
yes.
track 1 and 2, just give me the overall. I think it does. I agree with you. It is a rocking. And also, this is like our billionth Alan Menken musical we've covered on this show.
For good reason.
The show is literally named after one of his songs. So, of course. Jill, what are your thoughts on When Will My Life Begin? And what do you
exactly what Jen said. Yeah. This is like the prime Alan Menken cocktail of songs. It's so perfect. It is the perfect way to start this movie because you really could have. I mean, it did start with like this is the story of how I died, so it did kind of start technically kind of super dark, but it could have started out a lot worse. And they really, I feel like, pulled it together in this song where it's chipper and happy. And this girl has been stuck in her tower for her entire life, but that's okay. Look how much fun she has. Like,
of course,
you know, so it does get a little somber with like, she wants to go out. She wants to see the lights and she's kind of bored with what she's doing here, but she's also not like that mad about it. And it's like it's the beginning of Rapunzel's arc where she turns into the more confident person, because in this song, like I said, she's talking about just her mundane life and how it gets boring, but like she finds stuff to do, and she wants to do this thing and she hopes she gets to, but like she's not upset with her life. She just wants more out of it. I freaking love this song. I don't think they could have started it with anything better than this one, to be honest.
Yeah, and I will say there's this is one of those movies that I expect to be a musical on Broadway at some point. And technically, they have done a musical version on like Disney Cruise Line or whatever. Yeah, and if you go on YouTube, there is a prologue song. It's not very good, but yeah, they tried to do something else where they sing instead of having the Flynn Rider talking. But when you have Zachary Levi, like you use him, you don't need to have the song.
Zachary Levi can just sing in my ear all day, and we're good.
Yeah.
He can sing me the alphabet and I'll be happy. I don't care.
I do too. I do think it. Did you, Jill, give it a rating?
I would, for this one, I would definitely give it a 5. This is a rockin'. This song is great. If anytime it comes on, I will never skip the song because I will sing along to it and I will jam. If you're in my car, I'm not even going to apologize because you better damn well be singing too.
To go into the chat really quickly, Mike says that Alan Menken did write the songs for the series, which I had no idea about. Also, everybody's saying it totally rocks, and yep, it's
good taste in the chat.
Yeah, I agree that this. I automatically give the first song in any song, any soundtrack we do a rockin' if it establishes what you need for the film, and this does. You establish who the main character is, and it's a perfect for quarantine. It's a 2020 anthem if there ever was one. But we're going to go into the second song, Joe, and I'm going to throw it to you. The villain song right off the bat, Mother Knows Best. Now, Mother Gothel has a really interesting backstory with the flower and them finding it and wanting to get the life force from her hair. What are your thoughts on Mother Gothel's villain song?
I love this song. This is one of my favorite villain songs of all time. It's so freaking good. It's so genius because it really shows in this sing-songy way just how controlling Mother Gothel is to Rapunzel in a way that she's making it like, I'm doing this because I care about your safety, but in reality I just don't want anyone to take your hair from me. Like, and it's if you notice when she sings and when she talks to Rapunzel, she never looks Rapunzel in the eye. She's always looking at the top of her head, or she's stroking her hair. She's never talking to Rapunzel. She's talking to the golden flower that's in her hair. So this song is creepy. It's scary. It's catchy as heck. Like, it's so good. And like, if you're just listening to it, not realizing what the story really is about, you're like, oh, I get why Mother Gothel wouldn't want her daughter to go out into the scary world that she doesn't know. Like, that makes sense. I also wouldn't want my young daughter who's never been out into the existence to go out by herself. That makes sense to me. Until you think about, she just doesn't want her to go out because she doesn't want her to escape from her clutches. So she's like, it's so good. And this one is also rocking for me.
It's a manipulation song. It has she has a lot of qualities within the Hunchback. Full of the world is cruel. The world is wicked.
Like Frollo, 100%.
Yeah, she's 100. Yeah, and I
A
got
little more
that.
likable. A little more
Oh
likable.
yeah, she doesn't sing about. She doesn't
She has a
sing
little more
about
flair
like.
to her, yeah.
She doesn't sing about sin and all that.
She's not like she doesn't give me the heebie-jeebies kind of like Frollo does, but she's definitely scary.
Yeah, Mother Gothel is the most manipulative gaslighter. Yes. Yeah, she's very gaslighting.
She absolutely looks like Cher. That can't be an accident. Yeah.
Yeah. Cher would have been great in this role too. Jen, what are your thoughts on Mother Knows Best?
Oh yeah, this is if you've seen the Howard documentary, Howard Ashman had like a theory of like, I don't want to hire singers, I want to hire actors who can sing. And Donna Murphy, she knocks this one out of the park. She is playing to the cheap seats. Like, this is a musical. Like, every song kind of ends with everyone like striking a pose. Like, that's why I keep saying like, this is for Broadway. This should be a Broadway show. Because I would be totally giving her a standing ovation anytime Donna Murphy sings in this movie. But yeah, it is an amazing song. Mother Gothel she is a fascinating character. Like I said, like Jill said, one of my favorite villainesses, like she's up there with Maleficent, just because this is one of those, like, it's a real kind of terror. Like, this is a very interesting look at abuse and everything, because like if you listen to the soundtrack version, there's an extra verse in there, and it's really interesting to listen to it because it kind of progresses of her arguments and everything. It's like Jill said, the first verse is really like, the world is scary, I'm trying to protect you and everything. And the second verse is a full-on guilt trip that's like, oh, what about me if you leave and everything? And then it comes back around and she just straight up starts roasting this girl. And like it's one of those, like, if you have dealt with abuse, it's the like trying to make the victim think that they're like not worthy of love. So no one else could love you, so you should listen to me. I'm the one that cares about you. So yeah, this is one of those songs that it's just amazing to listen to. If you didn't know what was going on, it definitely takes a turn in it. But yeah, it actually, it's interesting when I was listening it to today to going over stuff, I was like, it's really similar in the beginning to like the little flutes that come in. Like, it sounds like Whistle While You Work, really. So it's like this really old school Disney feel in like the cute little humdrum kind of song, but then the undertones are so damn creepy that it just really hits home, and we'll get back to it later in all of these reprises and everything.
When it's a legit
when it is song. Legit, but
this is just a manipulative song. She's not outed as a groundwork.
It's amazing, and I love, like, this is weaponizing love essentially, and just this little things like Jill said about, like, she kisses her on the head, like she specifically turns her head so that she can kiss her, and she calls her a little flower and everything. But yeah, there's a moment in it where they have the little exchange that they do a couple times of like, oh, I love you more, I love you most. In any other context, that is a very sweet sentiment.
I say that with Sean all the time, and I'm like, this is really cute. It comes from something bad, but I actually mean it.
Horrible, but it's a very nice sentiment. But yeah, she drops the hammer at the end of like, don't forget it, you'll regret it, and that just the lingering strings. It's a beautiful song. I love this song so much.
I can't praise it enough. It is literally a great villain song, and I think we all on Universal here think it's rock, and I do too. I think, like, I'm surprised this never came up when we did. I don't think it did when we did the top 10 villain songs for Disney.
I don't know why.
I don't think it did.
I don't know why either.
But this, if we ever do a volume 2 of that, this is definitely on my nomination list. I love it. It works beautifully. We're gonna go right into, though, the next song is
Reprise number 2.
Okay, the reprise of this, though, I give a lot of credit. In my notes, I give a lot of credit because it actually differentiates itself musically from the first one. It's
very different.
It has it sounds like Belle a little bit. It has that build up, and it's built up, and she sings and she belts. I actually kind of really like this reprise, even though it's there. It's not a rockin', but it's there, and it works. I give it a solid 4 out of 5. It's good. But you guys might have differing opinions. Jill, what are your thoughts on the reprise of When Will My Life Begin?
This one, it depends on my mood, but sometimes I like the reprise better than When Will My Life Begin. It's really, it's shorter. It's a lot shorter, but I just love it because it's like this. It's kind of like a ballad in a way. Like it's her finally breaking out of her shell, and she's like, oh my god, this is what freaking grass feels like. This is, wow, I'm actually doing this. And then from this point she goes into like her little spiel of, oh my gosh, I'm here, I'm outside, I'm doing this. Oh my god, I'm a terrible person. Oh my god, this is the best day ever. Oh my god, my mom's gonna die. So this one, I am like, this is like a 4.5. This is like a download it, rocking it, like borderline.
You're the first person ever to give a 4.5. I just want to.
This is my
I find it hard to believe.
Nobody's ever like done that. They've just gone either all the way or not.
No,
okay,
because it really depends on my mood. Because I honestly think sometimes it's better than the actual "When Will My Life Begin" song. I love it, and I couldn't listen to it on repeat. Probably more so than I could "When Will My Life Begin," but I do like "When Will My Life Begin" slightly better. So I think it's one of 4.5.
Yeah, as a song, yes, it probably would be better, like a better song. But I'm judging it mostly on the fact that its first song had a lot to do and had a lot of responsibility of being the first song to establish the movie and establish the actual soundtrack and the songs that follow. That I kind of give it a little bit more of a, because if I gave this a rockin' and that a rockin', there's nothing in my opinion that would kind of make it differentiated. So that was my but I totally agree with your assessment. Jen, your thoughts?
I'm very similar to Jill in this. This is actually, within the context of the movie, this is actually one of my favorite sequences. It is beautiful animation. It's a beautiful character moment for Rapunzel. It's like triumphant with like this building. This is another one of those instances where it's really Alan Menken. He knows how to use pauses like beautifully to really draw out the tension, because if you're just listening to it, you hear like all this like flurry kind of sound, and then it pauses and holds on strings and everything. And in the movie, she's coming down the tower and she's really hesitating at the last second before she starts out on this adventure she's going to go on. So like I kind of like, when I was listening to it today, it was like, you know, this is what Ariel would be like if she had not lost her voice. She would have had this song. That's why it really speaks to me. But yeah, so within the parameters of the show, I would say that this is a download for me, because I think you lose a little bit of it when you don't have the animation sequence along with it, because it just as a whole package, it really comes together. But when you're just listening, like it's half, like we said, I think it's only a minute long or something, and half of it is score and half of it is Mandy Moore. But it's another one of those, like Mandy Moore, like she knows when to really punch up the words and everything, because it starts out slow and she's talking about the grass, and it's like, this is such a mundane detail, but when you think about it, it's like, oh, she hasn't experienced it. So yeah, it's this very triumphant moment for the character, and I love that it builds and builds and builds at the end, and just it's like, it's a jubilant moment, and I love it. And yeah, it's unfortunate that I have to say that it's a download instead of a rockin', because it is one of my favorite sequences, but I agree that like it just doesn't quite click when you don't have the full package.
Very true. Very, very true.
We're going to go into the next song, guys. And this one is actually my favorite song on the soundtrack. I feel like this is the ensemble piece. Why
am I not surprised?
Oh, yeah. It has that kind of, again, that kind of like big bombastic kind of like Alan Menken, like they're all joviant. They're all talking about their dreams. It made me really, really kind of feel bad for Captain Hook. Joe, what are your thoughts on I've Got a Dream?
This one's not one of my favorites.
All right.
I'm gonna be honest. This one is, for me, a shuffle it.
Okay.
It's good. I love the ensemble. I love that we really get to dive into Rapunzel can dream of anything she wants in the entire world, but all she wants is to see these lights that float in the sky that just happen to show up on her birthday. And so Flynn is like, I want cash and an island and all this money. And it's like, that's what most people would dream about. Like, let's be real. That's what they would want. So it really describes these characters and their differences and their life experiences and what they want in life. So that I really like about it. It's catchy. It's fun. It's like the one song that has more than just Flynn or Rapunzel or Gothel. I think it's the only one in
it's the only ensemble piece. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a good song. I like it. It's a shuffle for me. It's not a skip it. It's not a I don't like it. It's a shuffle. There's definitely other Disney ensemble songs that I like more than this one. But I give it a shuffle. It's fun. It's jolly. I'll dance around to it, but I'll probably get through like half and be like, okay, next.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to be the opposite. I'm actually giving it
Go for it.
a hard rockin'. I'm giving it my hard rockin' rating.
Oh,
The one,
really?
yeah, I'm giving it that. I feel like it's freaking fucking catchy. I had it stuck in my head. It's just really fun. I like this soundtrack. Really surprised me. I like almost everything. So this one just I had a lot of fun listening to it. But Jen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm similar to Jill. This isn't my favorite, but yeah, this is one of those you gotta have something for the kids kind of thing. So this is when we come in with the wacky characters and everything, and it is totally fun, and it's not obnoxious at all, unlike Frozen that has a really obnoxious kid song.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Snowman?
no, I'm okay with that, but I hate the troll song.
Oh, the troll
I hate the
song.
troll song so much. But I like to think of this song kind of like as a runaway circus calliope. Like it is just constantly bouncing and just it's really funny because it starts out with like kind of one of those they actually incorporate what's happening thing where they're playing an accordion or whatever, a concertina or whatever it is. But it's so funny though because it's a perfect comedic moment of they really draw it out the first note. And then Brad Garrett's voice just comes crashing in, and it's so great.
Brad Garrett.
I just found out today that the second verse, the big nose one, that's Jeffrey Tambor. I did not realize that until today.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a little higher than his normal talking register, so did not connect that.
Either until I actually looked at the casting, so I was like, oh my god, that's the dad
really?
development. Are you kidding me right now? And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, what?
I love this song. I've watched this movie so many times, did not realize that until today.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun song. It's a great song for kids because it's one of those don't judge a book by its cover kind of things. Everybody wants something. Everyone gets a want song in this musical. But yeah, like we said, technically this is the only company song. If you go on YouTube and look at the cruise line, there is another company song that I actually like. It's
I guess the cruise line version is different.
They added 3 new songs, and they are Alan Menken and whatever his name is, Glenn Slater. They did write it, and they actually it's later in the film. It would be like when they go to the kingdom and have like the festival stuff, and that's actually a good song. It's very similar to Belle. I like it, but if it ever goes to Broadway, that'll make it. That'll make the cut. But
they need to extend this soundtrack for Broadway if they.
Yes, there are far too many reprises. So, but yeah, this is it's a fun song and. It is a shuffle for me, but I will say Flynn Rider's little verse of he sells that line of surrounded by enormous piles of money really good. Like that always gets me every time. It makes me smile. So if it was just Flynn Rider's section, it would be a rocking. But as a whole, it's a shuffle.
That's it. We just want a soundtrack with Zachary Levi. That's all. That's it.
Yeah. The chat seems to be in agreement with you guys. I guess I've been a little bit of a minority with that one, but we're gonna go right into the next song, which is Mother Knows Best, the Reprise, which this is sort of her mother, and she instead of saying no, she literally says no, and it solidifies her defiance against this controlling, gaslighting biatch. She's horrible. Yeah, and I really like how it is emphasized in this version of Mother Knows Best, and almost supersedes the original, even though the original is a little bit more manipulative. This is sort of the unraveling of her plan. Jen, I'm going to go to you first with this. What are your thoughts on Mother Knows Best 2?
Oh, this is a hard rockin' for me. I absolutely love this song. It's like, again, it's only like a minute long, but oh my God, it uses every second of it. It's really interesting. Again, musically, like it starts out still a little bit, still playful, a little more sinister than before. And then we hear Rapunzel say that no, and it just drops, and it's so amazing.
It drops down.
And musically it changes because in the beginning, like it's a little bit of strings, it's a little bit of flutes, and then as soon as she hits that note, it's like big brass comes in defiantly, and it is just amazing. And she again, Donna Murphy just sells these lines like the I won't say I told you so. She really hits that, and it like the first time I was like, ooh, that was good. But yeah, this is it. Technically, when I was listening to it, I was like, this is really similar to The Last Midnight in terms of its things. It's like, yeah, because it's the same damn character. It's like, wake up, Jen. But it's the same thing of like Mother Gothel. She's fascinating because she, if you don't know the story and everything, like technically she is hundreds of years old. So she is this very wise person. She knows the world. She's experienced it all. So she doesn't have a very optimistic view of it. So in the beginning, again, she's kind of selling it to Rapunzel of like, you don't know, this guy doesn't love you. He's here for the crown and everything. So you should come back with me. Let's remember, to quote John Mulaney, this woman stole a baby. So yeah, she is like using her, but at the same time, she knows that the healing, like she's a woman and she's older and she's been older and she knows that like no one's gonna listen to me if I'm look like a crone and everything. So it is some interesting social commentary of like she needs to be beautiful, and as does Rapunzel, and she needs to be careful, but at the same time she really goes for it in this. And yeah, it's interesting, and one of my favorite lines in the entire film lives up to this of my mom, like I kind of have a thing going with this guy, and she goes, yeah, the wanted criminal, I'm so proud. So yeah, this is a fascinating song, and she sells it to the cheap seats. It is definitely a hard rocking for me.
Yeah. Just note, that's your hard rock, and you can't use another one?
This is it. I don't care.
Okay,
this is it.
I forgot to establish that at the start, but yeah, you can only use one hard rocker for the shorter musicals. Yep. Jill, what are your thoughts on this?
This one's rocking. This is so good, because piggybacking on what Jen said, the beginning starts like somewhat playful with like the actual concerned mother, like, cool, my daughter's exploring the world, and the first person she meets is the guy who's on this wanted poster right next to me on this tree here. So like, that's kind of terrifying. Like, okay, let me take you away. And then when she says no, instant character change.
Bada boom.
The real Gothel comes out and is like, you're gonna regret this, whether it be from him or from me. You're gonna get hurt somehow.
Yeah.
And it is where you really see Gothel's true evil intentions through her song that Donna Murphy freaking kills. It's hard to describe. It's like she's screaming.
Tony Award winning.
Yeah.
I'd give her one for this. Yeah.
She's like screaming it, but like in a singing way. And
she's still hitting the notes. She's still, it's full tone. It's still,
good. It's so good. And then it's like how she disappears into the abyss after that note. Like, it's yeah, this is a rockin' for me. The reprises, can I just say the reprises in freaking Tangled
killing it.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, usually reprises are throwaway, but aside from the first one, it's good. Good. Holy shit. Let's go right into we're busting through this.
Booking it, man.
We're booking it. Yeah, it's a short music. It's a short soundtrack, guys.
There's not a whole lot of songs in it. Go be honest.
But they're all rocking.
Yeah. It's quality over quantity, and we're gonna go into "I See the Light," which is probably this movie's most famous song. I've heard this song many times before. I'm going to go to you, Jill, since it's the signature song of this film. What are your thoughts on I See the Light? I have a feeling about something.
This is my hard rock.
Yeah,
song.
I figured.
It's not a hard rocking song. Like, you're not going to
no.
It
You're not
rocks
going
my
to jam
world,
out.
though.
This is my hard rocking song. This song, I distinctly remember when I saw it in theaters in the first time. The animation of all the lanterns being lit and then going into the sky. Goosebumps. I still get goosebumps, like just thinking about it. It's so gorgeous. And then they start singing, and Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi together. I want them to tour together and make songs and albums because they are so amazingly compatible with their singing voices together. I have told Sean multiple times that I don't care if there's nothing Disney at our wedding. This is my first dance song. Like, it doesn't need to be the singing. It could be all instrumental. I do not care. This song needs to be at our wedding, or else I am going to riot. This song I love to pieces. And same when I saw it in theaters for the first time. I think this is the only time in a love song where we actually see both characters actually singing it to one another.
Hold up. There's a metal cover of this?
What?
I hate it.
What, Mike K? We're gonna have to look that up later.
All right, we're gonna look that up after the show.
But this is the first time I think where we actually see the characters singing the love song to each other. And I remember someone next to me in the theater going, "Oh my god!" Because it was just like so like impactful that they're like there and they're singing their like essentially their love for each other without saying "I love you." This song is pure perfection. It is probably my favorite Disney song of all time. And
that's a lot. That's a big. Well, I'm not surprised.
No pressure.
No, like I have no complaints with this song. It is gorgeous, and I will fight you to the death if you do not like this song. It doesn't have to be your favorite of all time. But if you say this song sucks, I will come to your house and I will find you and I will beat you with a frying pan.
Well, I do like a frying pan, but we're not going out of the frying pan. We're not going into the fire.
Frying pans, right?
Yeah.
Frying pans, right?
This is going into the fire because of rocks. This is amazing. I think this deserves to be the signature song. It really has that kind of Minkin quality to it. This would be great on radio. Kind of, it's a mix of like, it has that kind of, this could easily go with Can You Feel the Love Tonight or something like that.
I will also add that Disney didn't overplay it like they did with Let It Go.
Oh, Let It Go is overrated.
Because they played it all the time.
Yeah,
Let It Go is a beautiful song, but they played it so much it's now overrated. They didn't with I See the Light. Although I could literally listen to the song every day, I wouldn't care.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't overdo it with I See the Light, and
it's enough that I recognized it though, because even with not seeing it, I did recognize this song. This is, as you said, I can't really say much more than you said. It's just beautiful. The cinematography is amazing, even though that's not in my rating personally. I just feel like the music by itself and how you could play it anyway. I can't wait for you guys to play it. Yeah, it would be great. So, Jen, what are your thoughts on I See the Light?
Oh, I absolutely love this song. Similar to, I won't say it's my favorite song of all time for Disney, but absolutely, Rapunzel and Flynn Rider are the best Disney couple because they are on equal footing. That doesn't really happen a lot in the Disney princess canon. And like, if just another fun little backstory of the production of this movie, in order to create the character of Flynn Rider, they had a hot man meeting.
What?
Where they had a hot man meeting where they assembled about 30 women from the studio, put them in a room and said, okay, what makes a man attractive? And they basically ripped up a bunch of pictures of their favorite actors and everything, kind of assembled them together like in the Truman Show. They wanted to make the hottest man alive, and mission accomplished, ladies. So yeah, this is one of those really beautiful songs because it's rare that two characters like hit their epiphanies at the same time in a Disney film, and they really do in this moment where Rapunzel is finally out in the world. She did the one thing that she wanted to do, and then she's also realizing that, hey, there's something else I want to do, and he's in this boat. But then Flynn, he's realizing that, hey, I've not really been leading the life that I should, and Rapunzel's kind of opened up this whole other world to him. And I think it's also just a beautiful song for Rapunzel because it really matches her personality in terms of the lyrics and the feeling behind it. It's fairly straightforward and simple. Like she doesn't mess around with it. I just love towards the end when they're both singing together, they have the line of "It's warm and real and bright," and it's like it's just one of those things of like it's a feeling. Like that's all it is. So it's a beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, how would a child describe the feeling of love for the first time? That's kind of how they would do it. So yeah, it's just one of those beautiful songs. And like we said, you hadn't really experienced this movie before, but you had access to that song and everything. And it's because it's kind of gotten the second life, even though Tangled is still one of the kind of hidden gems of that era and everything. It's become more of a staple in terms of like the Disney shows and everything, and parades and fireworks and stuff, because it's just a beautiful song. It fits in the context of the movie so well, of just the double meaning of its lights and like all lights, epiphanies and everything. But as a song on its own, it's beautiful with or without the lyrics. And yeah, so I'm glad that if you're gonna have one takeaway from this film, this is a good one to have. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it deserves the title of the most iconic song from the film, 110%. Believe it or not, guys, we only have 2 more sections. And this might be our first Sunday soundtracks under an hour, and it's all good. It's all good. Healing Incarnation and the Tear Heals. I'm gonna throw it to you, Jill, because you could probably like talk about this more because you've kind of been with this movie for a long time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on these 2 songs and how they're incorporated into the movie? Because honestly, there's not a lot of singing between both of these songs. There's probably about maybe a minute and a half of singing, and the Tear Heals is basically a 7-minute instrumental.
It's an instrumental.
Yeah.
It's the healing it's the healing incantation instrumental. This is a between a download and a shuffle for me.
Yeah.
I think this song is beautiful. and especially when she's singing it to Flynn, because she's literally heartbroken and she's hoping with all her hope and wisdom that this song can make him not like dead. Spoiler alert, this movie's been out for 10 years. You should know that by now. It's so beautiful, and it's also heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah.
Can I dance around to it? No. Could I sing it as a lullaby to like a child? Yes, I could. It's a cute song. It's one of those songs where it's like it's you notice it, you recognize it immediately when you hear it. It's beautiful, but it's not like a bop. Like it's like, you know, it's the healing incantation. That's what it is. But it's beautiful, and I love the lyrics to it. I love the meaning behind it. Where when Gothel was singing it, it's so she could live forever, and then when Rapunzel was singing it, so she could save her new dream. So I love it, but I can't bop around to it. So this is a download shuffle for me.
I do wish that the version that she sung at the beginning during the prologue was in the soundtrack somewhere. Yeah, because I liked Mother Gothel's performance of it, and it was very eerie, and even the child performance of it was eerie. But this one, this is good. I have to give it though a shuffle because honestly, it's a lot of score, and it's it's 7 minutes, and it's beautiful score. But I that's not the soundtrack, and the stuff that's there is a little too segmented in a way, away from obviously watching in the film. It works perfectly. That's not what we're judging it though. So I gave it. It's hard to even give it a shuffle really, I don't know how this would play in a shuffle when you have a lot of other songs. So I might just, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a one-time listen, just because, you know what, it doesn't really serve a purpose in the shuffle, in my opinion. Just musically, that's
fair.
It just doesn't do it. It would just be like, oh God, this is score. I want to hear the good songs. So,
I need to dance.
yeah. So I would say it doesn't really add to a playlist. So I would just say one-time listen. It's not a skip it whatsoever though. I can't give it that. Jen.
This is like really like a utility kind of song. They needed something to come in, but it's short and it's sweet and it does its job of this. It's actually, there's more art to it than you would think, because particularly the healing incantation is something that you're going to hear like about 5 times in the film. So it has to be something that like in just a score aspect, because a lot of times it'll come in just instrumentally it has to be interesting. It has to have a hook, but it can't be annoying, which is really hard to do when you only have about 20 seconds to play with. But yeah, like Jill said, there are like multiple meanings to it and everything. So I think it's a success in what it was trying to do. But in terms of the parameters of the show, once again, I like the healing incantation. If you go to the soundtrack list, that version of Mandy Moore is like in the scene where she's showing Flynn for the first time what her hair can do. But then the tear heals is essentially the entire final act of the film. So it's so like you're listening, you're like, I kind of know where I am, but it's like you get the entirety of like, oh, we're running to the tower, we're going up, we're getting stabbed, we're falling down. Like it's a lot of stuff.
We're dying. Oh
so
no, we're dead.
It's a lot, but yeah, the tear heals, like it is interesting because it's like there are dynamics to it. This is one of those Alan Menken score showcases of it starts out bombastically because it's like it's Flynn Rider coming to the tower and everything, and then it gets gentle with the keys and the magic and everything, and the strumming. There's a lot of like guitar. It might even be a mandolin at certain points towards the end here of it. Just this really like playful but soulful strumming that really fits Rapunzel's character very well. So I appreciate that. And then like they're having their goodbye moment in the tear heals, and it switches to this very soft piano, so like it is nice, and they do bring back in themes from I See the Light and When Will My Life Begin, because like I said, it's like the whole end of the film. So yeah, in terms of listening to it, I would say the healing incantation is a shuffle, but the tear heals is definitely a one-time listen. So I will be nice and say it's a shuffle, but yeah, it's because it does its job, and it is catchy in its own right of that actual song portion.
Totally get that. Good point. Yeah, of course. It's just score. It's the 90% of the song is score. So I mean, it's just what you would prefer when you're listening to a playlist. I can't believe this. We're less than an hour into the show on the last thing, and it's the credit song. Something that I want, which I have in my notes. It sounds like Avril Lavigne.
I have a different one. I have, oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
You're so fine.
Because it's immediately a kick, drum, and claps the entire time. Like, that's it.
Yep.
I got, hey, you, I don't want a girlfriend. Yeah, that's what I got. But yeah, that works as well. And it has that kind of like, the dun, dun, like it's like crocodile. Nah.
We're just listening to all these other songs instead of talking about the actual song.
Yeah. It's a mix between Elton John, Avril Lavigne, and fucking Mickey. You're so fine. You're so fine. This is the last song. Jill, what are your thoughts on it?
This song is rocking. This song is rocking. This is one of the best credit songs. Like, it's so good. I literally, like, when I had cable back in the day, and like and Tangled would be on Disney Channel, and like I would hear that song, I would come running to them and go, "Did I just miss Tangled?" Like, because like that song is just so like upbeat. It's so happy. Like so you want to do the freaking clap thing when you listen to it. This song is 100% rockin'. It is so good. It's honestly one of my favorite songs in the soundtrack.
It has zero right to be this good for a credit song. It has no right to be.
Credit
song, and it is so good.
Is there a story behind it? Is this a cut song, or did they just write it for the credits?
Technically, it has. Well, in the beginning, there initially was a song that I forget what it was going to be called, but there was going to be a song that Mother Gothel sang to Rapunzel that essentially was like an "I love you," but it's Mother Gothel, so you know what that really means.
Not really.
And then it was going to be switched over and have Flynn sing the same sentiment to Rapunzel using the song, and it kind of got chopped up into the two different of "I See the Light" and "Mother Knows Best." But I think some of the lyrics kind of made their way into this. But Grace Potter did write this one, so she wrote it like it's her songs. But like, yeah.
So it was probably written as like leftover lyrics and maybe put the clapping.
Yeah, like they took some ideas and scattered
on the cruise ship. Is this like incorporated into the show?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Maybe it's like the encore.
Yeah.
I would hope that this is adapted for Broadway.
I would think that they would, just because there's so few songs already. So
I know, right?
It's a good bell song. Like you could still keep the beat and have everybody do their stage bells.
Yeah.
Jill, you love this. So wait. Jen, I'm going to you. I didn't actually go to you.
Yeah,
what do you actually think of the song itself? Sorry, and what do you give it?
I honestly like. This is one of those. This was an era where for kids movies, it seemed like every other movie had a dance party kind of thing at the end. Like it became a thing where random pop song is being played and like the characters just randomly kind of dancing in the credits. And this one's not that bad in terms of that, because like it does actually fit with the story and everything. But it's not my favorite just because I honestly didn't really remember it that much, because it's one of those you're leaving kind of songs and everything. So it didn't quite click to me, but listening to it again, it's definitely a good song, especially in the era of like all the really odd choices of singer for pop songs for like phrases of the big ballad and everything for like Frozen 2 and everything.
Because this was the 90s.
I like some Brendan Urie into the unknown. Listen.
I appreciate that they made a new song and everything, and it is a bop and it is fun. But like in terms of when today I was actually listening to the whole soundtrack and we had these reprises, particularly there was the reprise that was for When Will My Life Begin, the first one that doesn't make it into the film. Like listening to that and to this, I can understand why that was pulled more than like in the beginning. It was like, well, it kind of does the same thing of the original When Will My Life Begin, but also in the reprise, like it's more saying like, oh, it's kind of like a Cinderella kind of feel to it of like, I'm okay where I am. I get it. Like I don't have a door, but I have a lot of things, and I should be grateful for what I have and everything. But then this song, like the lyrics itself, they're kind of contradictory to that. So I understand why the other one was pulled. But it's just kind of flip flops. I think it does a better job of explaining Flynn's journey, because it's like, hold on, let me pull up my lyrics here. But yeah, like for him, it was like, oh, he's a man of his own adventure, everything. It was a little illusion, everything. But for her, just the hook itself is like, I want something that I want. And it's like, you need this. It's not exactly the most profound lyrics in Disney canon, but like it goes back and forth. But it's like I understand where it's going, because it's like I do like the line of I want something that like I tell myself that I need. I was like, yeah, that's good, but like I think it's more, if you look at it surface level, it contradicts everything, because Rapunzel as a character doesn't need a lot. Like she just kind of like, she's weirdly independent in that she can take care of herself even though she's been very sheltered. And then for her to like at the very end be like, no, I want like everything. That's what it kind of and in terms of like the actual words, that's what it says. It doesn't mean that, but that is what it says. And like it's a little confusing for the kids if they actually listen to it. But it's more of like, especially now that it's progressed to this actual show and everything, of like, this is the beginning of her adventure. She wants more, and she understands that she deserves more. So I appreciate it in that sense. But in terms of a child listening to it, it's more of just a fun little dance song, and the words don't really mean much. So I would give it, personally, I would give it a shuffle. But it's one of those things of, if I actually came on shuffle, I'd probably be like, what's this from again? So because it's like, it doesn't really match up in terms of like, it's not very specific to Tangled, but it's a fun song. It's definitely a fun little hoppy dance number. So
I do not know why Billy went into All-Star, but that's just great.
Fun story. So we had a Shrek opening here. So because Tangled took so long to be made, like it was like on the docket for a long time, in Shrek 2, Rapunzel is a villain. And it's DreamWorks kind of taking a shot at that. I'm like, oh, you're going to have this Rapunzel movie in a little while, and we're going to show that she doesn't give a shit and everything, and she's going to partner with the bad guys. So that's a fun little look into Shrek 2 there. So yeah.
Cool. That's awesome, guys. So we're heading right into this. We're going to probably be done at an even 1 hour. Okay. So what we're going to do is just the overall thoughts. I'm going to throw it to you, Jen, first. What is your overall rating of the actual soundtrack itself, and how do you think it stands alone and aside from the film?
I definitely think it is a rockin', even though I've said it multiple times today. I was surprised. You don't count up how many reprises there are until you actually sit down and look at the list.
It's almost half the soundtrack.
Yeah, it didn't feel. The movie itself is like it's a normal animated length of like 1 minute 30 or whatever, but it doesn't feel like it's light on the music, just because I think it's incorporated so well, and it does follow that formula of kind of like front pack all the music and then get ready for the story at the end. But it does its job, and it's amazing, and there are definite bangers in here that should be higher in the Disney canon for villain songs and for romance songs. Definitely, I think I See the Light is the best romance song, just above A Whole New World, just because they're equal footing, and I appreciate that. Definitely above Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I'm just not a big fan of that song, but
that's an interesting conversation.
I don't like it either.
I don't really like it.
I should have you both on Lion King.
I don't really
like it. That's fine.
But yeah, so I think just coasting on the 2 songs alone of I See the Light and Mother Knows Best, I think it definitely deserves a rockin'. And if you haven't seen the film, you can listen to it and get something out of it, but you should absolutely watch the film, because it just brings a whole other level to it. Yeah,
I kind of enjoyed the short kind of track list, mainly because like a lot of Alan Menken's music was for Disney don't have that many songs. Look at Little Mermaid. There's only 5 songs in that movie.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast only has 7? It's
they're longer though.
Yeah, they're longer though.
The Tangled song, they like max out at like 3 minutes.
Yeah, Tangled song is so long. The freaking Belle song is like 8 minutes.
It's 8 minutes. Yeah. But Little Mermaid's a better comparison, because it is only 5 songs and really just takes the story and lets it breathe a little bit. I too give this album. I'm gonna save Joe for last. I give this a rockin'. This was solid from start to finish. I do wish though that there wasn't as many reprises, but the reprises were great. It just takes up half the record, and even though the songs are solid and I'm judging it by the songs and it's a rockin', I feel like there could have been just a little bit more. I don't know. I just have that feeling that there could have been maybe just one more song. I don't know where I would have put it, but I have to watch the movie again. But
I will do a push for there's a kingdom song, and it is fun. It's fun. It's very similar to Belle in terms of it's another ensemble of like when they go to the kingdom. It's actually a very nice scene in the film of the score itself is beautiful and it's very medieval in its feel. But it's playful in that like it's the people kind of going around like oh, we're waiting for the princess to come and it's gonna be so great when she gets here. And they kind of keep doing like these little jokes of like, oh, it's gonna be her birthday tomorrow. And Rapunzel goes like, me too. And it's like, oh, and she'd have this beautiful golden hair just like you and stuff like that. And it's like, come on, people, get with it. But yeah, it's cute.
It could have been a full like kind of I'm wondering if maybe that'll be incorporated.
It must have been for time or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. But Joe, what are your overall thoughts on Tangled?
Oh, this is a rockin'. This is a rockin' for me. This has my favorite love song of any Disney film. My probably third favorite villain song after Hellfire and Scar. Be prepared.
Be prepared.
It's probably my third.
I think Gothel and Scar would get along.
I think
splendidly. Like
we need to have like
similar.
forget all the villains that died. They just need to like screw that continuity and have all of them team up in a Avengers film and just all of them sing.
Isn't that the House of Mouse or whatever?
I was gonna say, is that the House of Mouse?
And have Governor Radcliffe do it with Ursula. I don't care. That would be great.
Love it. But yeah, this is a rockin' for me. It's not my favorite Disney soundtrack, but there's not a song in here that I don't like. Yeah. Everything in here, as you've seen, a majority of these songs are rockin' to me. Like, I love this soundtrack. Every single song fits into it. There's not like a song where it's like, oh, we probably maybe could have cut that one out. Like the freaking Troll song in Frozen.
There's nothing that could have cut. Yeah.
So this one, everything moves the story along. Everything is perfectly fit in with everything this is a rockin' for me. Is it my favorite soundtrack of all time? No. Is it up there? Yes, it is. Yeah, this is a rockin'.
110%. Jen, this is the close. I'm gonna throw it to you. Where can the good people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at JK Meme Queen, and potentially in the Schmoedown when we get some time. So yeah.
Yeah, doing the Schmoedown too. Joe, where can the good people find you? I know Schmoedown POV is busy.
I am here, Jillian Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's, on basically every single social media platform. Not even basically, literally on every social media platform. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Find me there. Also on a certain point of view, we are a Schmoedown after show. We talk Schmoedown, we spill the tea, we do not filter ourselves. We say what we think what we say. And it's a fun time. Come join the View crew. We're a fun little posse.
Yeah, it's a great community, so make sure to check those out. You guys can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisCluck8788. Those numbers mean nothing, but let me just say for this, that next week, Shock Treatment is going to air on the 21st and on the 22nd, Cabaret with Whitney Seibold, Max, and Liz. Also, be sure to check out on November 4th. We are going to be doing an extra live stream for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We're going to be going through the retro video game soundtracks with Some Call Me Johnny and his fan base, and then the crew that I do that every year with. So be sure to check that out. In the November 7th 24-hour stream, we'll be giving more information as that progresses. But from Jill, from Jen, and from myself, we say to you, keep rocking.